All right, welcome back for another video here. If this is your first time joining, my name is Matt, and this here in the barn is a poorly conditioned 1950 Caterpillar D4 that I'm trying to get working so I can put it to work out over all this property here. I'm already way behind this week because I loaned out the upstairs of the barn, and it turns out that when you're renewing your vows for your anniversary party, you don't want to be hearing an air compressor kick on and off, which is news to me. I wouldn't mind hearing that, but apparently some people don't like that. So I haven't been able to work all weekend, just now getting back to it. And so anyway, that's all there is. Let's go ahead and get to it. So I know the last video had a lot of you scratching your heads about why I didn't replace that gear. And here, if you missed it, I'll show you. So I replaced this gear and I put this top shaft back in. On the bottom shaft, that gear right there, you can see it's got 3 chipped teeth on it. And I mistakenly edited a bunch of stuff out. So first of all, I determined that it was second gear. With a part like that, where you just don't know if you're going to be able to find it in a quick amount of time, I didn't want to just completely stop working on this while I waited for that part. And this is partly a consequence of what I do for my day job, but just when you run into a problem, I always try to find a way to fix the problem in parallel while I continue on with everything. So in this case, I looked at the worst case scenario is I can't find a gear, right? So that's why I was kind of filing down the chips just to make them so they wouldn't be brittle, and then I probably just wouldn't even use second gear on the machine. I have since then found a second gear, so it's actually coming. It'll be here in a few days. Hopefully in this video you'll see me put it in. But assuming I couldn't find it, I at least wanted to continue on and not just be sitting around waiting for that gear. So I looked at the manual for a while, and the way you take the bottom shaft out in the CAT manual is, well, first of all, you take the top shaft out, but then there's this plate, that lower plate down there. You unscrew that, and then you pull the shaft out just a little bit, and then you can start sliding the gears out one by one and taking them out of the case. Well, I have an advantage over the suckers that are using the manual, is that I have no steering clutches in here right now. And the dimension on that hole is the same diameter as this hole right here. So I could probably pull this shaft all the way out if I wanted to. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to keep the gears in their places, and I can move these around and get my hand in there and such. Keep everything in the right order, and then when I get to this last gear, I can go ahead and pull it out of the case and put the new one in, and then slide the shaft back in. It could have been a month or 2 months to get that gear, so I didn't want to just stop everything. I want to continue working in here and in the clutch area. So I'm just trying to think a couple steps ahead here, fellas. We're playing checkers here, not chess. All right, let's try to get this clutch out. Okay, so this entire thing is like threaded on a shaft which goes through to the front pressure plate. So it looks like there's a clamp nut here. So I'll loosen that up, and then hopefully I've already kind of tapped on it with a dead blow and it does move. So at least it's not frozen up. But I just now noticed that nut, so I'll get that off real quick. Okay. Let's see if this moves easier now. Oh yeah, okay. So we'll see what the actual friction surfaces look like on these plates. I'm really hoping they're good, otherwise it's like $300 to replace them. Actually looks pretty good there. A little bit of rust, I bet you. There's gonna be a little bit of scoring right there. We'll clean that off and take a look. It looks like a little bit of this wore off. This thing was pretty thrashed. There's a little bit of pitting on here. I can feel it. These might, I wonder if I could take these in and have them turned. All right, I got this thing over on the bench. There's no bearing in here, I don't think, but I don't know if this is supposed to be so wibble wobbly. I'm guessing yeah, but maybe I'll take it apart real quick and see how this thing is put together. But well, that wasn't even tight on there. I don't know. I think you can actually get a new one of these. I think I saw that on that General Gear site, but I don't even know if that's, I guess that's, okay, I looked at these parts for a little bit longer and I kind of understand what's going on here. So on this coupler shaft, which goes between the shaft here to the transmission, there's this material here, which is a brake material. And it sits up on this plate here, so when you disengage the clutch, it stops the transmission from spinning. On this one, there's a little nick here. I think I did that. The manual says to replace if these machine screws are at the height of the pad. I'd probably just replace it anyway. This plate, I can just tell just by looking at it, it's not round. It's oblong over here. There's a ridge here. There's a ridge here. This thing has just been beaten up. So this needs to get replaced, I would assume. And then I looked at the manual and it says, replace any worn parts in the collar. I have no way to know what's worn. I'm gonna go ahead and take these off. What is this? So this is steel and this is brass. So I would assume you would just replace this. You know, I might just replace this. I think I saw this on that General Gear site. I'll double check. Oh yeah, look at this. This is all worn down right here. Got a little care package here from General Gear in Idaho. Let's see what it is. Oh, would you look at that? That is, wow. This is just an amazing condition. This is the gear that's broken. Now we've got some parts that have arrived. We got the ever-present brake cleaner. Some paint. This is pretty thick stuff. This is not Caterpillar paint, but it is matched to highway yellow. We got a brake liner kit. I think this is the front seal. Springs for the steering clutches and all new steering clutches and discs. That's probably the most expensive stuff that I've ordered. New main clutch. That's a gasket I cut out last week. These are bearings for the steering clutch throwout. And then these are new seals for the two drums that are over here connecting to the final drive, these things. Well, it's the next day here. I've degreased all this stuff. Unfortunately, the degreaser took a lot of the paint off, which is surprising. So I'm probably going to go ahead and touch that and that up with paint, and I'll probably get this collar, even though this wasn't originally painted from the factory, just to make it look nice when I have to look inside the clutch cover. A little bit concerning on these pressure plates. There's a lot of pitting in here. This one's not as bad as this one, and I can get in here with a cell phone, but it's take my word for it, it's bad. There's a lot of pitting in here, and then I actually over here I see cracks. If I pull it back, you can probably see it if you got 1080p. I was losing a lot of sleep last night thinking about this clutch brake thing. So once again, this sits on here, and then these right here, right on here. What I don't understand is why this is so oblong. This is definitely not a circle. It's like you know, a couple 16ths off if I measured this versus that. And I was just gonna flatten it down, but it's just, this thing is just thrashed. It's way thinner here than it is here. I have no idea why it would be, but I'm starting to suspect, you know, you have that, plus you had the two return springs that were both broken on there. You had the broken clutch teeth that were already in the bottom of the case. You have the broken interlock, and it's just so many things to go wrong in a small area. So it's all got to be related. I just am not sure why. So once I get this all back in, I'm gonna just spend a lot of time adjusting on it, making sure it's right. This thing I think looks okay. The cam teeth don't appear, or the cams don't appear to be worn. So we'll call that good. I did find this collar. I think it was, how much was it? $215 for this. This was, I think I found this, it was 40 bucks. So I'll replace both of those. I cannot find this friction surface, but you know, you can just buy rolls of friction surface and you can cut it out, score it, cut it out. So that's what I'll do. I already ordered that stuff. I got updates on these pressure plates. So before I machined it, I talked to, I think it was the owner of General Gear in Idaho, and I asked him if I could machine these or if it's something you just leave as be. And he said the cracking, the heat checking is pretty normal. You just have to make sure that there's none that go through and there's none kind of close to the edges, which is fine here. Same over here. There's really not that, it's really not that bad. He said though that, I mean, you can just leave that be and it would probably be okay, but he said to put a straight edge across it because these things bow over time. So I did that, and yeah, it actually is, this one is not great. There's quite a bit of daylight going under there. Over here, this one's a lot better. But this one I think has a little bit more scoring on it, or like rust pitting. So I'm thinking I might just order, just to be safe, I just might order, because they stock them there. So I just might order 2 more from him, and then I don't have to worry about it. I'm still thinking about that. I think the price was like $160 each, so it's not too bad, and it just might be cheap insurance. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at here. I really can't do much else on this until I get more parts. So I think I'm gonna shift over and start working on those brake bands, which everyone's been telling me is really hard to do, but I'll give it my best shot here. I do like a challenge, if you didn't know that about me. All right, onto the brake band here. I think this is in 3 different sections, so I'm gonna just attach the first section first. Yes, this is probably covered in asbestos. These pads actually don't look too low, but I'm sure it's all just covered in asbestos. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drill out the rivets on this pad, and then once I get these 2 pads off, I'll wash the whole thing, get it clean. So it looks like I've never actually riveted anything before, but this doesn't look too bad. So the new pads do have this countersink in them for these bolts. That's good. All right, well the kit has two pads with these countersinks and then 4 that are all the same size without. So I've kind of thought about this a while. I watched one video where I saw someone do this on a huge machine, and basically they had one guy hold it like this, and then another guy had a die that he held up under the rivet, and then he banged on it with another die. So obviously I only have 2 hands, so this is going to be tricky just to get it all situated and centered. I think what I'm going to do first though is I'm going to put those bolts back in here and then just tighten it with nothing, just to center these countersinks over them. And then I think what I'm going to do is I got some super glue here. I'm going to glue these pads down just to hold them in place so I can go through and mark the drill holes. And then I need to come up with some kind of way to hold it in place while I bang in the rivets. All right, this may not work, who knows? We shall find out. I'm gonna go ahead and say super glue is not a good idea. Just this clamping just works fine. So I would clamp it and then I'm gonna drill it. I mean, that makes way more sense. I don't know what I was thinking. So, I mean, these clamps are holding it on here pretty good. They're holding it to the shape. So I think we're good to drill. It's pretty on there, pretty straight. All right, so this part of the rivet is supposed to be on the pad side. So there needs to be a countersink here. So it sits in there. I'm using this is a brad point drill bit, so it should make a flat. I have no idea how deep I'm supposed to go though. Guess we'll try it on one. Like, I have no idea. Did that already go all the way through? I mean, that's maybe halfway through. This is almost something you should do with a drill press to get the good depth. Like, that's repeatable, but I don't know, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, definitely go slow. Maybe I'll turn this on slow. Yeah, looks maybe good. Who knows, man? I didn't see anything in the book about how deep to set these. I'm looking at the other pad. Somewhere in there. I'm aiming for about halfway. Yeah, so I think I'm going to set them. I did them all. There's one or two that are a little bit too deep in my opinion. I think for the next ones I'm going to set up the drill press. But this is about the same depth as the other pad here. So I think that'll be fine. This is the one that's too deep. And it's, you can see it's, well, quite a bit farther in there. But, you know, it's not going to fall off with 7 or other ones holding it in. And, all right, well, so now we're on to figuring out how to hold it in place while I press it. All right, well, to set these rivets, I looked up kind of what the tool would look like to do that, the die to do it. And basically it kind of spreads out the tip and then it folds it over to kind of a mushroom. I can't make something like that here. I think I can do it in 2 stages though if I have 2 different dies, one to spread it and then one to mushroom it. I'll give it a shot on making one. So let me get my lathe out real quick and we'll give it a shot. Okay, so I just got some bolts here. I cut the heads off so they'll fit in the chuck. This is just stainless 3/8 inch. So I'm gonna straighten it out first. Okay, so that's nice and flat. That'll be the side that goes up against from the back. It's pretty much the same width. So now on the other side, I'm going to do the pointy one to get this started from rolling over. And it needs to be a little sharper. Ooh, that's hot. We'll let that cool off for a sec, but I think that's gonna work. Okay, now for the other side of that die. So you can kind of see what I'm aiming for here, is this is gonna come in like that. Ka-chunk. And get it started, and then I'm gonna make the other die up now. Well, this next part's kind of janky here, but what I like to do is I get the drill lined up with the chuck, just eyeball, because I'm not really going to go very deep here with this bit, in both dimensions. Make sure it's fairly squared up. I actually had to turn this table a few degrees to get it lined up right. Mostly, I think, because of this this vise that I got the bit in. So I just need to go in just a little bit to get it concave in there. We'll see if this works or not. That might be enough right there, we'll see. Yeah, well, we'll give that a shot on one. I got different size screws if I need it, but that looks like it might work. Just as a point of reference, this goes completely flush over the original rivets. So at least it's in the ballpark. So now I just need to find a way to, so since I'm doing that, and that, and that, and that, I just need to find a place to mount it. These are metric threaded, of course, because it's a Chinese vise. I feel like I'm making this too complicated. There's got to be an easier way to do this, but I guess I'm just trying to be safe. Do it. Really reduce as much human error as possible until I know what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to get these centered up on here. And then I'm keeping these, I'm going to put the other one over here, but this is the shorter one, so I need to put that one in first. And then I just want to make sure I can actually, am I going to be able to get in here and set this? Yeah, hopefully. We'll find out. So I'm going to use MIG welder. This is flex core. And go easy. I mean, I haven't welded anything for a couple years, and welding is kind of a perishable skill. So I'll do the best I can. So this vise is still wobbly, but I'll just have to be careful when I set it. Okay. Okay, I think I got that one set. Notice this one's not lined up. Oh, can you see that? But this one is. It doesn't really matter because I'm only going to use one at a time. At least I think. Who knows? Probably does actually matter. Okay, moment of truth. I got a rivet in right here. So first we're gonna, oops, too far. We're gonna see if this fits in here. Yep. So we're gonna try to use the sharp tip. I don't know if that's enough or not. I don't know. Maybe a little bit more. No idea what I'm doing. That's more. Now I could probably just hit this with a hammer at this point. It's folded over a little bit, pretty good. So let me get it on here. Now I did rotate this so I can do this. I think. Can you see that? Okay. Just get it centered in there. Give it a little push. To tighten this vise down. Alright, I'll give that a look. I need to get this little thing shoeied up a little bit better so I can work through my work area. But hey, look at that. That doesn't look too bad. It's, I think it needs to go over more. It's like, see how close it is to the size of that hole? That might be a problem. Let me compare it to the factory one and see how close it is. It might be okay. It looks pretty good to me. I don't know, what do you guys think? I think this wasn't that big of a deal. Just, I was making it too complicated with the glue. Just clamp it down and drill it out and, you know, just rivet. That's my first rivet ever. My mom would be so proud. All right, well, I just got to redo that about 500 more times for those, but I'm gonna go ahead and order the other kit because it's obviously something I can do here. All right, guys, well, I think I'm gonna end the video right there. Man, a lot of news this week. So if you watched the previous video, you know I got a new engine and I even got a new hood for a total of 525 bucks. Just simply, this just is gigantic. So I guess that begs the question of what do I do with the old engine? It's kind of strewn all over my shop here. I guess I can, you know, I might need some parts to get the new one cleaned up, maybe, I don't know. So maybe if you guys have a suggestion on what I should do with the old one, you know, you turn it to a boat anchor, just slap it all back together, try to get it running again with how it was. Let me know if you have any suggestions. Let's see, one other bit of news is I did find a new spring for over here, also from General Gear, and they sold me both springs. There's one inside of there, both springs and a new stud that goes all the way through for 200 bucks. Just a deal. So right now I have nothing left that I'm actually looking for a part, which I'm sure that'll change, but that's kind of a big deal. I mean, where's my cheater bar? So right there, that's the light at the end of the tunnel right there with that engine and everything else. I'm pretty much set here. And there's a real good possibility I'll have a running dozer here within the next few months, 6 months, maybe 32 months. We'll see. But for not that much money. So once again, guys, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it, and stay tuned for more videos. There's going to be a lot of work to do, but like I said, there's light at the end of the tunnel.